Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
What's everyone up to today? Blub, 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 blub. My model is ridiculously frozen, but that's alright.
The charm of using my camera
Right?
on my computer.
Camera's garbage! That's new. It's weird.
Well, it's just, yeah, they say that all webcams don't really track models very well, so
Yeah, it's alright.
it's unfortunate.
Gotta have that superior Apple technology, apparently.
Gabe, getting my notes out. Nice.
Welcome in, everyone. It's time for another Gemini teaching us how to do art and then Fox failing miserably to try to replicate it.
Yes.
It's perfect. It's glorious. And the new project that I'm working on is coming out very well, though.
Yeah. We decided to try and reteach Fox with a different style that's a little bit more simple in the rendering phase, anyways.
Yeah, the rendering phase is way more simple. I need to sit there and just sketch and draw 4,000 portraits of people's faces to get the shapes right.
Yeah.
Hands can go to hell. That's always a problem, but the faces and expressions I have to get down.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
But that's a lot of practice, and you gotta practice for your stuff to improve and feel more confident in certain things. So.
Right. This face came out really, really well. Fox's is all right, but I think Vienna's is really good.
Fox's is good, I think, especially for the angle that you did for the new one.
Yeah, the angle's really weird. Anyway, that'll probably be out tomorrow. So.
Yeah. So today, last week we decided that we're gonna do hair basics. So we have a little mannequin here, and we're gonna draw different types of hairstyles on here, and I'll try and teach the best that I can for different types of hairstyles and lengths and maybe even some braids. I know some people.
Oh, braids. That's a good call.
Some people struggle with braids.
Yeah.
And, we might not get into like full rendering phase, but I'm gonna just show how to lay out your shapes and stuff. And hopefully that'll help. That'll help you guys out when you're, starting off the hairstyle that you want to do, and eventually add more to it and stuff. So
Yeah.
I always say try and do things in layers, even if you're doing traditional. Just sketch out really lightly and then draw on top of it, or erase and refine.
Digital makes that so much better. Literal layers, turn them on or off.
Yeah. Digital, it's a bit easier to do that, but it is possible to do it traditionally as well, because I used to do that way back when.
Sacred undo button.
Yes.
No.
Now, anytime I try to go back to traditional, I always move to do the undo button, and I'm like, no, it's not here. It does not exist. There is no button on paper.
No button.
Yeah.
It's alright.
I wish I could do layers with pencil and paper.
You do only get so many erases.
Yeah.
Before the paper turns gray.
Yeah, which is why when I used to draw traditional, I would draw very, very, very lightly my skeletal structures and the basic shapes that I want to have. That way, erasing is a lot easier. You don't have to go so hard on the paper and eventually, ruin the texture of the paper or rip it. Also, if you do get a sketchbook that has better quality paper, sometimes that makes that a lot easier. You can get like papers that are thicker, like cardboard paper almost, and it's a lot more forgiving if you're somebody that erases a lot.
I always wanted a light table so that I could set my shitty drawing down and then trace over it to put down like better lines.
Yeah, I actually did get a light table. It wasn't too expensive, surprisingly. If you go to an art store, sometimes they sell those. And it was useful when I was learning 2D animation in university. That way I could do most of my work at home rather than have to stay in their laboratories to do all the projects.
That's fair.
Very much a at-home body, so... Hi Fox, hi Gem. Hope you're both having a fantabulous day. Thank you. I hope you're having a good day too.
Especially, Hey Kevin, hey Echo, Gabe, Connie, welcome all in.
Yeah, welcome in.
Good to see you.
As we're going through this, you guys can also ask questions whenever, and I'll try and answer them. If there's any specific hair steps that you have a hard time with, you can totally ask as well. I asked in the Discord for hairstyles. We received 2 photos, so we'll go over those a little bit later. But for now, I think I'm going to show like the process of layering hair. Obviously a lot more easier on a tablet, doing it digitally, but it is possible still doing it traditionally. You just have to figure out how to sketch lightly. Okay, so I don't know what the hairstyle should be for the example and explanation of everything.
I say Gotcha, but that's my favorite.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or Fox, do whatever. I don't have anybody else that pops in mind real easily, and you literally have the examples at least of Fox and Gem on screen.
Suppose we could that. Okay. So for the first layer, you just want to figure out the basic shapes. Hair can be really daunting if you think about all of the different layers and all the different strands and everything. So for beginners especially, I always say start off with the main shapes of the hair that you're going for. Always try to think of things in simple shapes, and I've been saying that through every tutorial that we go through, but it really is important and makes your life a lot easier. So for Goth Gem's hairstyle, it's like a bob, a messy bob, with 2 little buns on the top of the head, as well as straight across bangs. So also a good tip to think about specific hairstyles that you're going for is to figure out where the hair is coming from out of the skull. So that kind of includes the hair part, that kind of thing. That always helps me at least find where I'm trying to start off with the hair. It's a good starting point.
The model froze. Laura. But thank you, Gabe.
It was a good cackle. Okay, so for Goth Gem's hair, since it is a banged hairstyle, usually bangs start at the top of the head in the center. So you could even do a little point like this. That way I know, okay, the hair is mostly coming from that direction. And to start it off with simple shapes, we know that it's a bang. So it's gonna come down like this. Go across. Right? That is the first shape. That's where the bangs are gonna go. We know that there's side pieces that come in. Like that. We also know that there's more layers as well that come in towards the length of the...
I think I still have a terrible time not making it look like I'm using the same, like, straight lines. So like the side pieces, I feel like I always just connect them straight up, so it's like flush, which isn't usually how hair works.
Right, so it'll always curve from the starting point. That's why it's important to know where the part is of the hair, because that's where the hair is going to be growing out of and coming from in direction. So this is fine, but then when you're thinking about it in a 3D type of way, there's also like a middle layer and then like a back layer from the hair behind your head. So that also adds volume and shape to the hairstyle that you're going for. So for Goth Gem, they have 2 little space buns, kind of in the middle area of the head, kind of in line with the ears. And then there's also some hair that comes down in simple shapes, you can do it just like a bob like this, right? On the same level as this.
Just kind of connect them.
Mm-hmm. And you have the hair that comes out, and then the back hair, which isn't always visible, but it depends on the angle of the head. If it's a straight on view, then you don't see it as much, but it does show a little bit. Right? So that's like the basic geometrical shape of the hair that you're going for. These are the main 6 strands of the shape of the hair. From here, you can start doing the more detail work, right? So you can make it translucent or erase it a little bit if you're doing traditional. Or just draw lightly. Then when you're going in for the detailing of the hair, you want to start thinking about the smaller strands of the hair. Start piecing out these thick shapes, because hair is not, it's not a helmet. So
it's like layer 2.
Yeah, and depending on your specific style, it could be way more piecier or way less piecier. It really depends. But if you want to add more movement to make it less stiff looking, I definitely recommend start texturizing with strands of hair. So texturizing, you could just do like simple lines like this, if you have a more simple style. That starts to break it up a little bit and make it look like, okay, there's more texture to the hair rather than it just being, the flat shape that you have there. My specific way of doing is I like to start from the point that I had and start adding the shapes that I want to have for the hair, following the guideline of the base shape that we jotted down.
Hold on. I mentioned it before, we gotta get the little footies for the art tablet so it doesn't move.
Yeah, right.
And this is just redefining each of the shapes, giving it more
like texture almost, you're starting to form how the hair's gonna be laid out. Right.
It almost sounds
You can start adding more texture to it if it's messier hair. You can start having those layers present.
almost reminded me of Stranger Things.
Yeah, it's very 80s sounding.
It's from King's Quest. And all the random gift subs, you haven't gotten one. That's funny.
Huh?
You get, all the random gift subs, you haven't gotten one, so that you can see when the ad break is over on your phone at least. That's funny.
Yeah. So for little buns, I like to texturize them a little bit to kind of signify that there's hair twisted inside of it.
The circles.
A little loop like that, adding a few lines here and there in the same direction, kind of gives it that feel that there's hair twisted in it. If you want it to be more like a bun, kind of like in a bow like shape, you could do it like that as well. So play around with the direction of your lines and stuff, and it'll give you a different outcome. That's for sure.
Make it a cinnamon roll.
But I like making them little twists that are pinned down to the head.
Remember, we have the cinnamon rolls.
I like doing little flyaway hairs too, because it's like a messier style. So I add little flyaway hairs coming out of the bun.
Do you see the image in your head when you're doing these? Like, kind of the way you want it to look?
Yeah, a little bit. So if we delete the simple shape layer, see better that you now have pretty much good hair.
It's just that easy.
It looks like hair.
Right. That's not a nightmare for like an hour of me doing work.
So obviously, like, I'm doing this really quickly because we have a few different hairstyles that I'd like to go through to help everyone see how to do certain types of hairstyles.
Yeah.
But you could go further and do another layer on top and like really have straighter lines, make it less messy. Add a little bit more details if you wish. Like, you know, you can add little half lines in there to really make it seem like there's a lot of strands of hair in there with this. Even just doing that, it makes it look like there's a lot more definition within the hair. Adding a few more like half lines that don't go all the way through really texturizes it a little bit more. You could also do individual strands too that just exist like that. I find that also helps if you want to give more texture and pieciness. I'll show also with longer, simpler hairstyle that's not as messy how you can do that with the single strands. It kind of breaks up the shapes a little bit more. To be honest, that's how I draw most of my drawings. I envision and apply. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
If you are trying to emulate a specific hairstyle that you've seen before, it's also good to have the reference as well of, let's say there's a specific actor or actress that has the hairstyle that you like, you can just have that image up as a reference and try to recreate it.
Yeah, real good idea. Mm-hmm. That's the way I did the, my hand-drawn Jane Doe that I shared was there was a picture of Jane Doe sitting there. So, like, I just, always have references if you can have them. Yeah,
references are always good. But yeah, so that's kind of like the basic idea of how you should be drawing hair. Obviously, this changes for different types of art styles that you may have. If you're a little bit more cartoony, then, you know, you might not have it look as complicated or as detailed. But I think doing the basic shapes is good for everybody as well.
You often, for the extra details, so like we went through and did the basic shape, and then the new detailed outline, and then you put like your detailed lines usually up on another layer just to be able to adjust them.
Yeah, just in case.
Okay.
So let's do a middle part long hair look. So if we're doing a middle part, no bangs. There's different types of ways you could do a middle part. You could do a middle part that's similar to like Fox's hair, where it kind of goes up from the head and then falls down. In doing so, you figure out where your hairline is on the person that you're drawing. So let's say this is the basic shape of the hairline. If you want it to go up, I always explained it to Fox as like drawing a little bow in the hair.
Yeah, I have a cute little bow.
Yeah.
Top of my head.
And then from these points, you can start bringing the hair down.
That line, that initial line, is a nightmare every time. I always feel like I'm not shaping it to fit on the face.
Yeah.
So then it's like, I don't know what this is. Because, like, on the left side, it kind of does the swoop, you know, and it looks like it hugs where the chin goes. So I try to emulate it, and every time I feel like I'm just flying off the side of the face.
When you do this type of hairstyle, that means that there is kind of a line here for the parting of the hair. That means that all of the other strands that are on top of the head will also follow that line. And eventually they hide behind the hair because you don't want it to keep going up and up. It doesn't make sense to do that. Okay. So if it's long hair, you might have, you know, some strands that go over the shoulder. You want to base...
Do you do hair first and then the face?
I do face first.
All the body work and then the hair?
Yes. Yeah. Oftentimes I do the face first because I want to make sure that the face is proportionate to the size of the head and not me trying to squeeze it in to have all the details because the hair or bangs are in the way of the face. You know what I'm saying? If I base it off of this, I might not be able to proportionately, you know, draw the eyes. They might look a little bit wonky because I'm trying to fit it in within the constraints of the hairstyle.
I have found that whenever I'm... so I've been drawing the face first because that's what Jem taught me. But then I have to turn that layer off when I'm drawing the hair to not take the hair and try to fit it to where I can see all of the eyes and face and everything.
Yeah.
Like, just let the hair flow.
Yeah. So for this, the shapes, they kind of, because it's longer hair, it's not as easy to do like simple geometric shapes for it because it kind of has to go down. But I try to think of how hair would fall with gravity.
That flow that you can do is just amazing. So natural.
So I think about the main pieces that are here. They would be more defined. Then you have the little background pieces here. But that also would shape the head. So hair, usually if you have hair that's has volume in it, it's going to be a little bit further off of the head. It's not going to be directly towards the skull. Like, that way, if you do that, your head's going to look like there's no hair. It's going to look like you're drawing thinner hair. So if you add a little bit more space from the skull for the hair to flow, and it follows the shape of the head, then you're doing better. Your hair is going to look fuller, and less like you have, you know, just golem hair, you know, like a few strands of hair. So once you got the basic shape and you like the basic shape and how it flows, reduce it, do another layer, and start doing your detail work. So for hair that goes up like this, I tend to draw the first strand. Then I'll go in and do the hairline. I try to make it jagged because your hairline's not going to be a perfectly straight line. And then you can add in some lines that come up from underneath here. And that's like more than enough texture to signify that there's strands of hair that are going up from the head. You can follow pieces that you drew.
Did you enjoy coloring books as a child?
Huh?
Did you enjoy coloring books as a child?
Somebody asked that?
Nope, just came to mind.
Yeah.
I hated staying in the lines. Well, I was looking like how well like you could follow the line. I was going, I hate staying in the lines.
So once you got the basic shape down, you can start doing your texture work and adding extra lines. The more stuck together the lines are, so if there's less space, the more dense or darker it's going to look like, so you're almost starting to shade at that point. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of signify or replicate dimension by putting more lines together.
Darker is traditionally in the back and lighter in the front.
Okay, so let's say you're happy with that. What I was talking about for longer hair and doing the individual strands just to give it a little bit more of a loose feeling and not like... it doesn't feel like you put hairspray in your hair and laid out these shapes on your head. you can start adding random hairs like this that aren't necessarily going to be filled in with color, right? I'll fill it in really loosely after, just so that I can explain it better.
Always trying to follow the shapes.
Yeah, keep it similar to the shapes.
Is there
Just to fill it in as an example. So this line, it's the extra hair line, but I'm not going to fill in that color. It's just texturing.
longer hair should have longer strays?
Longer hair should have longer strays. If you keep it short, then it's going to look like they have hair damage.
Which could be after a rough evening.
It could. It does have its own effect, but most of the time, if you have longer hair, then the loose strands are going to be around the same length as the hair that's in that area.
Otherwise, it just looks like you're ragged and tired. Yeah. You ever done much,
So there you go. So now you can see what I mean by the loose hair strands. It kind of just gives it a little bit more definition or more of a realistic feel. Okay, that's really good. Ah, thanks. So that's what I mean by the loose hair strands. You kind of want it to still flow and be as long as the hairs that it's coming from in that section. But in leaving it like that, like, this is very simple and kind of sketchy still. I'm not going to be doing full render hair on this stream. I'm just explaining how to get the shapes down and how to get it to a point where it feels like it's actually hair, you know? So in doing that, it really just gives it more of a liveliness, because no one's hair is perfectly in shape. Like, I mean, you're even seeing it in, like, the newer animes where they'll do, like, a couple hair strands that are just loose so that it breaks up the blockiness of anime hair. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else has noticed that, but I find in the bigger companies for the newest animes that are coming out, they're starting to do that, where it's like one little white hair strand every once in a while. It's very hard to animate, which is why I know they don't do it all the time, but I've been noticing it a lot more, and I feel like that makes the anime's characters' hairstyle a lot more realistic feeling. So even in just doing a couple extra strands like this, I feel like it really just makes it feel more realistic and alive. Lived in, you know?
Would you give loose strands to male short hair?
Yes, I do. I give loose strands to everybody.
Welcome in, Sin. You are the firstest among the first, the most first of the first did. You missed the start. It's okay. Yeah, you're fine. We'll have the VOD up.
Yeah. Our VODs are like 2 weeks behind.
Yeah.
Just in case, just to give us, you know, a consistent schedule.
Pleasure to have you here.
But thank you for coming in. You didn't miss much. I just did a shorter hairstyle before I could show you. I did this.
The gem hair. The goth gem hair.
Goth gem hair. I was just explaining the
yeah, better than a year plus.
A year plus, yeah. Yeah, I'm just explaining how to start off with basic quote-unquote geometrical shapes so that you can get the basic idea of where you want the hair to lie, and then how to add the details afterwards. Obviously, you can fully go further than this section to render it even more if you would like. You could also do less than this and it'll still be good as long as some of those elements are still in there.
Do more.
But again, a really big thing to do is to make sure that your hair has volume. So this spacing is completely different from the area of the skull, right? It's very sticking far away from the skull. And that gives your hair more volume.
Like a short mask hair.
Yeah. So for the middle part hair, like I said, you could do it where it's going up like that. I find doing it like this, it gives it more volume automatically. And I feel like most people's hair do this naturally anyways, because your hair kind of grows sticking out of your skull, like upwards, you know, rather than lying completely flat against your head, which is why volume is important for when you're drawing hair. So I feel like oftentimes there are some people that have hair where it doesn't stick out and they're drawing it, for an example, down a bit. Okay. They're drawing it like this is the middle part and then straight like this, right? You can do that, but I personally don't like the aesthetic of it because I feel like it looks like a wig at that point. Right? So it's gonna come out from that line, obviously, because that's your part.
I guess the front of it looks really flat then.
Yeah, this part, it looks like a wig, like a bad wig. So to fix that, you don't have to go as extreme as what we did here. You could just do a little bit, a little tiny one, and then have it go down. Okay. Just so that you can still have that middle part, but it has that little bump there. You're like, okay, it's going... It feels more real. It's coming out of the head rather than laying flat on the head.
Gotcha. Even if it's small.
Yeah. Do you see the difference?
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
It's funny, I get the Caitlyn vibe from Arcane on that somehow.
A little bit.
I don't know. That's weird.
But that's the thing about middle parts. When it's visible to you, the hair, yes, it could be a smaller bump like this, and that's as flat, like that's as small as I would go normally. But when you do it where it's flat like this, you have you have your part, and then you just start it from the part like that. It just doesn't, it looks like a wig to me. So my trick is to do that little bump.
Just a little ridge.
Yeah, just a little bit, because then you're like, okay, yes, it's growing out of the head rather than just laying, just a wig that got plopped onto your head, you know? I mean, it is a look. If you want the character to look like they're wearing a wig, then go right ahead. You know, I'm not gonna judge. But even for when you have bangs in front of your head, you want to signify that it has volume, right? So that's why even for this one, this one, it looks like there's volume because you're curving it, right? It's following the curvature of your scalp.
Your dome.
Your dome. So the trick to hair really is trying to just show volume. Trying to emulate volume and following gravity.
Oh, gravity. It's a suggestion.
If you want something to look like it has a flowiness to it, you know, like the wind is picking it up a little bit, it will still have volume, but it will follow the flow of the wind. So as an example, like for Fox, oftentimes when I'm doing his character sheets, he has a flowiness to his hair because I kind of like to think that his hair is a little bit wispy, especially at the ends. So let's say this is the head.
Always in the wind.
Yeah. This is the head. I will draw, especially if it's very long hair, okay? So let's say this is the body. I'm doing a really shitty body right now, but whatever. Let's say that's the body.
Beanpole.
You will do a line, kind of like how you would line a tail, you know? And where the tail is going. The hair is going to fall downwards because of gravity, but if there is wind, let's say there's wind kind of going this way, so the hair is going to go down, but then start to flow in the wind like that. Right? It's being like picked up and swept to the other side.
Because the further down it goes, the less together it is, so the more the wind affects it.
And also the less dense hair is usually.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of tapers out a little bit.
Especially
if it's very long. Yeah. There's more hair damage towards the end of the hair. So then when you're drawing the hair, you know, you have that volume around the hair, so there's a bit of thickness from the skull, and then it can follow that flow. Right?
Gem giving me the thickness.
So if you're doing things that have motion like that, I always recommend doing like a quote-unquote middle line, so you know where the direction's going, and then that way the hair you can do the geometrical shape like this in the direction that you want it to go, and then you can start doing the detail work on top of that to give it more strands and texture. If there is loose strands, it would still follow the direction of the wind.
More so, probably, just because they're so light.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd have like the strays at the top of the head that would just kind of fly off that direction.
Yeah, you could have it going like this, little strays that are going, but they're still following the direction of the wind. Okay. I think now it's good to go into the 2 suggestions that we got from Discord. First one, we received a lovely David Bowie as an example.
Bowie. There's your short hair.
So people wanted to have an explanation of how like pushed back hair would look. Obviously, this is a side profile, so it's going to be a little bit different than having it a front profile. I'm still going to explain how it would look at a front profile, but I'll explain really quickly how this seems to work for him. It's pushing upwards, so you have to draw the hairline. Right? It's pushing upwards and then flowing back. You kind of have those guidelines. Right. So those would be like the basic shapes that you're going for. Now to translate this onto a front profile, it's the same idea. You want to make sure that you have your hairline. We're going to do a little widow's peak this time. Widow's peak is when it kind of comes in like a heart shape almost on the head.
Where the hair starts to grow?
Yeah. So you draw out your hairline and where you want it to go. Obviously you can bring it forward, but most of the time people have larger heads, so the more closer you are to the eyebrows, the weirder it's gonna look, I feel. So give some space for those foreheads. Let's 5 heads are beautiful, I don't know, I like bigger foreheads.
It works.
But also, if you have the hairline a little bit higher up, then it does give room for like if you're doing bangs and stuff.
Maybe that's why you like my hair.
Yes.
Fox wants a lot of hair on his model because he does not have a lot of hair on his head.
So if you see that little bump that's there, it kind of seems like he has like a curved part. So you want to draw down where the part is for the hair. Okay. And now we know that it's going up and then back. So we want the hair to go up and then start flowing back. But then you can follow the line here as well. The part, up and back. Up and back. Okay. That's the main shape there. You can have it come out even more a little bit. Again, I'm leaving space between the skull and the curvature of the hair because you want it to feel like it's voluminous.
Voluptuous.
Voluptuous? I can't speak.
Volumus.
I'm giving up.
Valley-ho. Volumus.
Right? And then here it's like very close to the skull, so I do a little bit more lines and then not as far away from the scalp here.
It's pulled back and it's...
Yeah, it's tighter to the head, so... and then it curves around his ear and then kind of comes out here. Right? Here, same thing. The hair is coming out of the part, but still falling back. It's the same idea, just a little bit more sideways. Right? And it's closer, tapers in because it's closer to the head. And then curves out at the bottom here. Now you could over-exaggerate this shape more and give him even more volume on the top by going up even higher, you know? But we're gonna leave it like this for now. I think it's good enough as a base.
About that base.
Mm-hmm. So now for the details, you can just trace those lines if you wish as your starting point. Again, a little bit more pieciness on the areas of the scalp because there's a lot of hair that's there. If it's more masculine, usually they have sideburns. Sometimes people just cut them off, but you can bring it down a little bit, like little lines like that.
You just make it like a jagged edge there?
That's fine. Just a few little lines is enough to signify that they're sideburns. Some people have crazy sideburns, and if they're thicker, then obviously you're gonna have to treat that more like thicker hair. But anyways.
Wolverine. I do hate that he's the answer to everything in the MCU.
Well, you know. Huh?
Final Fantasy.
So if you have that base down, you don't need the sketch anymore. And now again, just doing more hair coming out of the head is going to give enough detailing to show that's growing out and that there's like it adds enough detail in there. You don't have to go all the way to the end. Some people have that as their style, like me. I don't recommend it.
4,000 strands. Yeah.
Just a few strands on either end here will show that there's a bit more depth and texture in the hair, right? You could add a few extra that do go all the way, but it's not really like necessary.
Some random little lines that follow the shape.
Yeah.
Scottish, eh?
Same here.
You make it look so simple enough.
And then you can still add loose strands here, even though this is more like a tapered look with gel and stuff. There's still going to be a few strands here and there. So you could do, you know, maybe one up here, one over here, a few loose ones that are on the sides here. At the bottom especially, since it's more loose, you can add a few extra loose strands. And there you go.
Yeah, there you go, Gabe.
If you're Scottish, you got some sideburns, not gonna lie.
Crazy sideburns, crazy beards like Viking beards.
Scottish people either got some crazy sideburns or crazy beards, like Viking beards.
At some point, I may show you my crazy beard from years ago. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, that was crazy.
It was enough that I probably could have braided beads into it. It was great. I had bought the Viking beads and then I just never put them in. That takes effort.
Yeah.
I happened to be playing a dwarf at the time that was a druid, so it was very much like I want to do this, and then realized the effort it required.
All right, so is everybody on the same page for this kind of hairstyle? Thank you, Fox, for grabbing those points so I can throw teeth at you.
More points. The funny thing is, I'm really tempted to take your phone and throw teeth at you with your own points!
Ah! Yeah, so that's kind of how you emulate a pushed back look. I hope that it makes sense. So again, what's important about pushed back looks is that you know that the hair is going up, so you're going to see the hairline. So you want to have the idea of where the hairline lays, and as well as the part, because to have it fully slicked back perfect, it's going to look very helmety. So having the parting of the hair kind of helps and make it look a little bit more stylish.
Does it even work on like a tight ponytail?
Yeah, so oof. Tight ponytails, I find them really difficult to do. So tight ponytails, they have a little bit of a they're tighter, so they're not going to be directly on the skull, but they're going to follow the skull.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have your hairline, right? And then it's all pushed to the back of the hair following the curve of the hair.
Okay.
Right? Especially if it's a high ponytail, so like Lara Croft style.
Or getting your hair pulled.
Uh-huh.
That's more what I was.
So then you have the little ponytail tie that's there, and then it kind of like rounds out like that.
There you go.
And then goes down behind. Right?
Yeah.
And then let's say it goes this way. Have the ponytail go up like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's like a.
So again, it's tight, but there's still space between the skull and the ends of the hair, the top of the hair.
You still gotta have some form of volume there.
Yeah, there has to be volume, because if it's you're just using the shape of the head, it's just not gonna look good. I used to do that because I didn't figure out that it looks better when there's a bit of space.
Well, and that just kind of ripples on the head too, for like where the hair is pulled back.
Yeah, so then you can start doing a little bit of loose strands, that are kind of farther out. You could give a few that are a little bit more bumpy, because not every pulled back hair is perfectly slicked back.
Yeah, some are smaller.
I recommend not doing the slick back look at all, because it's just never gonna look right, especially if you don't know how to render it in a way where it really does look like you have a lot of product in your hair, so it's like super, super shiny. Obviously you can, you don't have to listen to me, but I find it's a lot harder to make hair look like hair when it's like so slick back that it's like super on your scalp,
Yeah.
If you do it, I feel like it's better if it's like one of those hairstyles where it's like a headband, that's pulling it back, and then you have a lot of crazy volume and free hair in the back of your head. I think that's okay, but still, it just doesn't look right. Unless if you do like laid down bangs. I'm not an expert at them, but like, some people have like those little baby hairs that they lay down in directions like this. That like swirly kind of look, where like the goes down and then you have it laid out like that, kind of a look. I feel like if you have like something that's super slick back, but you have those little tiny details in it, it adds to it enough to make it look like, okay, it's intentional. But yeah.
The little framing, they're not bangs, but they're little
yeah,
framing
they're
hairs.
framed hairs that are like stuck to your head. It's usually more so of a look for POC women usually.
Mm. Kind of is the princess vibe for me on that part.
Yeah, and also I feel like it's usually used to lay down hairs when you're wearing a wig, especially. I see it a lot more there, because then it makes the wig look a little bit more realistic, and you can kind of hide the lace front of the wig. In doing those kind of details, it just makes it bleed into your skin a lot more. So I see it a lot more often when people are wearing wigs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah. That's kind of how to do a ponytail, especially a front-facing view ponytail.
Yeah.
I really don't like doing ponytails, but at least, now you know how to kind of do it a little bit. So the next example that we got was...
Yeah.
this one.
Bye.
I got a lot of comments about, like, side-shaved heads, so really close to the skin hair.
I do love her hair.
The best thing that I can say is, obviously you have your, you have your hairline, right? And then usually, I will not go into full texturing on this. You just start lining like where you want the hair to be coming out from, and then you kind of follow that by doing little tiny wispies. By following the lines that you have coming out of the scalp, So in doing that, it kind of just shows, okay, it's a shorter hairstyle. It's going to be very close to the head. It's not going to come out from the scalp too far. So let's get into that.
Shave that head.
Yeah, so here we know that there's a hairline. Okay. This side's not going to be seen as much, but we'll put it in.
What's that?
You have a parting of the hair that's like here, and this part is shaved. So when it's shaved, you want it to go just a little bit out away from the head, but it's very, very close to the scalp. This part, it kind of goes up and then down. Kind of have that look of the hair going up and over. Very simply. Then to signify that there's hair coming out of the back here, you can texturize a little bit here of hair behind the head. Right?
Okay.
So now that you got your basic sketch or shapes down, you can start doing the little detail work. So you know here that the hair kind of comes out this way, kind of falls to the side here like that. Then you can do the ends of the hair here. You know that it's like very short. So very small strokes, very small lines.
Just lines going in the general direction of the head.
Yeah, following the lines that you kind of already drew for the hairline, you want it to kind of go in the similar direction. That's kind of more than enough to show, okay, it's kind of a buzz cut. Okay. And the hair that's coming out from behind, that part that's coming out.
I've developed a character that had hair over their one eye. All I have to do is draw one eye.
Yep.
Next character. Be a goblin. Elaviv's new punk look. Future Elaviv.
Mm-hmm.
All of the characters in the future have short hair.
And again, to texturize the hair, you can do little tiny short lines coming from a scalp. A few that go in on the ends. Vibing.
Dun, dun, dun. Game I never played.
And then the little tip of the random loose hairs. Add more realism. Glow.
E.
Yep. Kind of the basic of it. I think I probably would have done a little bit more volume on this end, so bring it out just a little bit more. Make it look less, flat.
I think it looks marvelous.
But that's the basic of it, so that's kind of how you would do a shaved head. To go to the extreme. Do the entire head shaved. Draw the hairline that you want to have in the direction of how the hair is going. Right. Then you know that the ends of the hair kind of go out away from the scalp a little bit. You do the little short bursts to fill in the area.
Lots and lots of teeny.
Here, let's see. Got a little bit of hair that's coming out. A little bit more hair on the top.
It's really short hair. Not quite shaved, but just really, really short.
Yeah.
And then most of them look like they are stray hairs already, because it's just so short.
Yeah.
Maybe finding that hairline has been a problem. I don't know.
Maybe. Your face is stuck in a very sinister-looking grin.
Well, you know, I'm not staring down at your chest or anything. It's fine.
You're giving me some good ideas for another drawing.
Perfect.
Woo!
That is the intention.
So what else is there? I guess braids.
Oh, braids. Yeah. I love Eve's beautiful braid. I feel like I did that one pretty decent.
Yeah.
That was pretty solid.
So the trick to braids, is that it kind of goes in from thick to thin. The idea of the hair thinning out at the end, so there's less volume to it. Also, it kind of goes into a zigzag motion like that, right? That's how you braid hair.
Right.
So then to do the actual shaping of it, usually I like to think of it as hearts. You can start it off like that, right? And then making sure it kind of tapers down and goes lower. Becomes smaller.
That's just at the basic shape.
Yeah. Right. So that's kind of the zigzag motion there. You can go into more detail and start really showing that the hair is like all attached to each other. And then another thing you can do is add some textured lines. Make it seem like the hair is being pulled inward, because it's kind of like you're twisting.
The line should follow like the top curve of the heart almost.
Yeah, so like it's going in. And then you can do the loose strands also. The edges, like that.
Some of them are just going to be broken off there.
Yeah, it just gives it a little bit more texture. Then you have it tied usually, and then you have the little tuft of hair left.
You pull it a little bit to the left. Your model's in the way. There you go. A little twisty bit.
Yeah. And then to help it go into a direction, so let's say we have hair that... I don't want to do the bangs and everything. We'll just do a little example of hair. Okay, let's say there's hair here.
Perfect.
Done. Let's say you want the hair, the braid, it's going from behind the head and it's going over the shoulder. That's kind of curving it out a little bit. You're going to follow that as your middle line. Very lightly. You have that as your middle line. You do the braid, but following that as the middle line of the heart. If that makes sense. Now it looks like it's curved and twisted.
Imagine being able to draw hearts reliably.
And then the zigzag, one on this side, one on this side, one on this side, one on this side, one on this side. That's like basic shaping of it. You can detail it however you feel like. But again, like it's going to be more intense coming from the actual twist. The tip of the heart. Because the hair is tighter there. And have more line details coming there. And you can have like loose ones coming from the sides. Do it as simple as possible.
Perfect.
Again, also like that also applies if you're doing like a braid that's following some sort of wind line, right? You just do the same thing except you're following it, making sure that the middle line is being followed and respected, so that the hair, the little parts are getting smaller and smaller towards the end of the hair because there's going to be less volume.
I suppose it would work for rope also in a similar fashion.
No.
Wouldn't follow like that. Okay, we can talk about that later.
Rope is going to be the same girthiness throughout. It's the same size.
Yeah.
Hair, it twists out thinner towards the end because there's less hair the farther down you go usually.
Right.
That's kind of how that works. Is there any other hairstyles that you guys want me to go through?
I think you covered all of our OCs. Excluding, like, I guess Nathan. But
No, he has a shaved hair look.
he does have the kind of shaved head look.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Um,
Can you do some short on the side but coming down?
yeah, so that's kind of what I showed, like a pushed back hair look or messy bang look.
Hats.
No, I'm not gonna do hats. I struggle with hats personally, so I don't feel like I'm capable of teaching them very well.
Short hairs but coming down. Hey, Dammy.
Hi, Dammy.
Blub, 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 blub.
Yeah, hats are my nemesis.
What kind of short hair are you thinking?
If you're looking for like the messy bang look. Because all the hairs that I did show can apply for men and women. So, I think male hair types is like redundant.
Yeah, the long-haired example was one of them was Fox's hair, so
Yeah.
flowing locks of fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want like messy bangs in the front?
We do the messy bang look. You know, you still have your hairline, which is important to have. So you have more of a side part. You have the hair coming up a little bit. Right.
And this is Legend of Zelda. How about that? It's messy. You just Photoshop a hat on top of it and call it good.
I don't like hats. The thing about hats is that they have to fit over the shape of your skull, but also the width of the hair by a little bit.
Then deform the hair somehow.
Yeah, so when you have a hat, like it has to, the top part of the hat has to fit over the hair. You know?
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah, it just never looks right. I struggle so hard with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why Cowgirl Gem, I was like, nope, ain't drawing one. I was gonna do it hanging off like the back of the head even. It was like, nope, forget it.
Yeah.
Not happening.
Okay, so which hairstyle do you want to tackle?
Bald. I'm done. Bald is it's a choice. It's a choice. I mean, I'm most familiar with Goth Gem or Gem's hair, I think. But one of LV's 40 hairstyles.
Let's make you do this one.
Oh God! All right.
Put you outside your comfort zone a little bit.
So much hair.
So let me see what I can do. To start here.
That sounds fun, delightful. Ooh.
I don't know if you need like the lining of the face a little bit.
It's a face.
Yeah. Hello?
Hello? Go into a different layer. Oh. Okay. To give it a rough idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so Fox is gonna try and recreate this hairstyle.
No, terribly.
And we're gonna just switch over our models on the computers and switch our scenes.
Yep, middle back.
Yeah.
Herb. And we're back.
Now I'm all stiff and slow.
Now, I'll move me over.
I got my horns back.
Look, you're attached.
No! What am I attached to?
Right. My bad. I think we're good. Now.
Yeah, we're good.
Perfect. Technical difficulty, but it wasn't very difficult. That's what I'm at. That's there. Look, I'm done. It's all right. New there.
Incoming ad.
Oh! Like 120.
Yeah, that's what I was using.
Shake like a rag doll. Kind of reminds me. This reminds me almost of Eris and Tifa. 7 here.
You have a lot of Final Fantasy in your head right now.
I love Final Fantasy. Yesterday was Tifa's birthday. Yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah. Next year I'll have to celebrate it. All right.
I wonder if we should do a celebration of our anniversary on here.
Maybe we could do that. It is the 21st.
Yeah.
I don't know what we would do for that. Something.
No clue.
Not a clue. It's not even a stream anniversary. Yeah. Amazing. It's no hate. I'm just delaying here. What am I starting with? The hairline or the shape? I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Have you not paid attention the entire class?
I don't know what I was busy drinking coffee and Googling.
Oh my gosh.
Here's kind of the shape, right? Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, you gotta do the
hairline first.
You gotta do the bow.
Yeah, but you have to start with the hairline. That's what I've been teaching this whole time.
I don't understand. Yeah, the little...
No! Shapes. Simple shapes, you're not going into detail yet.
Meh.
Yes.
There's no other hairline, so...
Do it anyways.
There, do it anyway.
There you go.
More like that.
Yeah. Now find your hair part line.
Like here.
Now you can do the bows.
I'll do the bows.
Yes. We're in an ad.
Perfect. Aha, now I can screw up. Nice. That's right. And I got it. It's like the montage, right?
You're turning into Chris.
A little bit. Alright. Let's go.
Does that look like a bow to you?
No, but I'm doing the shape that is there.
Yes, but that's after I rendered it. You want to do the shapes. Why is your tongue sticking out? It was just... It's raving right now. Just...
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I think you need a beard trim.
I probably need a beard trim.
Yeah.
It's getting a little bit...
You know what it's like? It's giving vibes of that one character in Harry Potter with the tongue twitch.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. That is so funny. The only thing I can think of right now where it's just giving snake vibes.
When I'm looking down, I think it's registering my beard as being my tongue out.
It's giving snake or lizard vibes, you know?
It's alright, I got the snake skin.
You're just trying to taste and smell.
Yeah. just leaning closer and closer.
And now it doesn't. It just showed you doing teethy motions. Oh, it's a bird.
Hey, bird.
Why is the bird like right there?
Alright.
Oh.
Here's the thingy.
Hey, but make it like actual like triangular peaks.
Those are triangular peaks. What do you...
That's better.
Right.
Okay. You're doing simple shapes, right? What I've been doing in red first, and then drawing on top of it. You're not doing all the details all at once.
Right.
Your tongue's sticking out. You have to see it. Don't raise your head, just look.
Blah, 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 blah.
It's so funny.
Blah, blah, blah.
Have you ever seen
That's
that
so
happen
weird.
before? That's so funny.
I don't think I look down as much as this is now.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Is that better?
I laughed so hard my hernia popped out.
That's perfect.
Now I'm dying.
Alright, anyway, so this shape.
So it'll go down from the top of the peak and then swoop out.
From here?
Yes. Oh no, I'm trying to survive, but I'm in pain.
And always do the underlying first. Like the one that touches the face.
Mm-hmm. So it'll start from the peak here,
Uh-huh.
go down, and then out, right? Because of gravity. No. You're curving it out way too fast.
Down and down.
It's better.
Okay.
There you go. It's a bit better. No. I'm looking at the stream, that's why I'm behind. Let's start over.
Alright.
So I'm just gonna lay down your hair the way you had it.
Okay.
Can you put it back? You had it like this,
Uh-huh.
right? Your peaks, so the lining of it is very close to the middle of the head, right? Not
Right.
off to the side. You have these peaks. Right?
Yep.
At the tip of the peak, down and then out.
Down and then out. Down and then out.
Okay, try not to do it all in one line. Do short burst lines.
Very sketchy and then.
It doesn't matter. This is supposed to be the sketchy phase. You got it. Just laying down the basic shapes first. That's better. That's better.
It doesn't swoop.
It's not hugging the face.
Anyway. Okay. And then same thing from here to do this.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
These goes down, out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The front bang.
Yeah.
Then the next shape.
Kind of follows the same thing.
So hard for me to see where the shapes are in this. Where to break them up.
Have that.
Yeah, I got those. Yeah, the front bang. Yeah, I just think my eye doesn't see those individual shapes.
Yeah. Okay. Got you. Does that help?
Goes up. Put back into this one.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of shape here.
Mm-hmm. Except you're giving yourself a lot of volume. There's a lot of space there from the head.
Or
No, the second strand you did, it goes up super high. So there's so much volume here.
okay. Be like here?
Yeah, that would be better. And then give yourself more volume here. Like it's going out, right?
What? That?
It's talking about this strand still. Goes out. Your tongue keeps sticking out. It's so funny.
So this.
Everybody, if you can find a lizard emoji, please put it into the chat.
So like that.
Yeah, that's a bit better.
Okay. Why does the bottom stick out so much further then?
This volume.
Okay. I don't understand why.
Do you not see the shape the same way that I drew it? That it's thicker at the bottom than it is at the top?
Yes, I feel like this is massive compared to like this section that's there.
Only because the first strand you did isn't sticking out as much as it should. The thin line. So that's why the second strand looks a lot thicker. It's the right shape, it's just not as thick at the bottom as the reference image.
It would be more like that on the first shape.
Yeah.
Not what I see.
I keep laughing at the tongue. Oh, everybody's doing tongue emoji. That's funny. Thanks, Gabe. You got my back.
Alright. So huge. Same thing at the bottom. Doesn't matter. Third shape, that comes off of here. Yeah, that comes down this way. This one kind of comes
Over the shoulder, yeah.
Okay. Third strand. And this hair comes down. This is in here.
I wonder if I could even do that on mine.
Trying to get
my
it.
tongue.
You just have to keep flicking it really fast is what you have to do. Weird.
I can't go faster than that.
You can't go faster. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it did that. Doesn't register 2 tab that way.
To all the people that didn't know, yes, I have a pierced tongue.
Right.
It feels like you're trying to stick your tongue out to the beat of the music.
I'm just trying to lick the side of your head. Okay. Like so.
Yep.
Here is it.
Don't forget the back hair details at the top of the head.
Yeah. Oh, so that. Yeah. No.
Yep, it's just flatter, but the shapes are there. There's less volume in yours. But it still works. It's like a good shape anyways.
Ah. We have lots of practice. Yeah.
Fox trying to get the pesky fly.
Right.
Wow, that is a funny image. We need somebody to draw that.
Fox trying to catch flies. There we go. Voice of the frog. All right. How you doing, Echo? I hope everything's going all right.
Just to match your tongue.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Almost like I've had a lot of practice. A lot of practice.
Uh-huh. Do tell more.
Yes. Yeah, well, you know, maybe I'll get a Kermit mask made. And then whenever the toggle's on, then there's the Kermit mask on my face.
That'd be funny.
I don't know that its mouth would move, would be the problem. Oh well. I'm glad to hear it. Welcome to my struggle with FU hair.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
I don't know if we've had this problem before.
No. Oh, I did not notice it ever.
I don't know what the problem is.
It must be your beard.
It must be. Okay.
Working on sewing things again. Ooh.
Oh.
That's fun.
That sounds utterly delightful. You're welcome to share them in the Discord if you want to.
Beepy.
Oof. Perfectly welcome to.
For those of you in the Discord, we're probably going to do an art call after this at some point. And work on Cybersera lore, and I'm going to work on that personal piece that I was doing just to take a little break from comms.
Yeah.
I like to, like, you know, go super fast and try and do everything all at once for commissions for a few days, and then after that I like to work on a personal piece, just...
Like a palette cleanser.
Yeah, just a palette cleanser.
Yeah. Trying to finish your partial for an upcoming con. Oh. This goes down this way. This way, this way, this way. Put it in here.
Oh, that's cool.
Nifty.
Look.
Oh, it is nice. Sweet.
That was some intense music.
Like so.
Yeah.
This needs to go up more.
Now you can start doing the simple detail line art.
I hate how messy those lines are. Like they just...
Okay, my lines were very messy too.
Darling, there's a very distinctive difference between those lines and these lines.
Not in my opinion.
It's a worlds apart. Worlds apart. Alright.
Who has more practice to be able to tell the difference?
Move that line compared to this line. You're doing this.
Okay, but that's an over-exaggeration. That's not what your lines look
They look terrible, I know they do.
like. You're just being hard on yourself.
You know...
Everybody, post a heart in the chat for Fox.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He deserves the love.
No.
I'll start.
Lies.
I'm gonna put a heart.
Lies.
Take this.
I do it. Do it. We're back to 300. What is going on?
Look at that.
La, 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 la,
Look at
la,
all
la.
those hearts. Look at all those chickens.
Look at all those chickens.
So many hearts.
So many hearts.
Oh, you forgot the detailing of the bow.
Oh, yeah.
You left the hairline out. Must be a hairline.
Lies.
When Fox concentrates on drawing, his tongue sticks out.
Yeah, it's something like that. Weird.
For me, when I do the sketchy phase, it helps my brain to do it in a thinner or less opaque pen tool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and that's... yeah. So, like, we did the sketchy phase. You know. Like this. Or 2 layers, apparently. And that's fine. I understand that being messy. But then
It's concentration phase.
But then I look at this and I go, oh, the lanes are so shaky. Like this.
What's even funnier
Horrible.
is that my grandfather does that. When he concentrates, his tongue sticks out.
Listen, I'm not quite a grandpa yet. That would be terrible.
Every time you talk, I think it's acting like your mouth's moving. It's just your tongue.
Yeah, I think it's just watching it.
Oh, look at all the hearts for you, Fox. They all love you.
You're such lovely people.
They all love you and support you and think you're doing great.
Thank you, darling.
We love to see it.
Okay. Those lines?
Yeah, that's fine. I find you like to do short lines for some reason.
Because my hand doesn't go crazy. Like, trying to do a straight line for a length of time following another line. Like, it doesn't.
Okay, try it on the straighter strands, you know?
Like these?
Mm-hmm. Good. There you go. There you go.
This looks really shaky and misshapen compared to the other line that's next to it. Like, it looks like it doesn't follow.
I think you're on drugs.
I might be. I might need to be.
It looks just fine to me.
Alright.
The tongue is killing me. I feel like you're doing it on purpose at this point just because it makes me laugh.
Not even moving.
Well then, Fox, the model, is doing it on purpose.
Yeah. That lined up a lot. This one. Yay, nay.
I mean, yeah, you can put more. They don't have to be short burst lines.
Not short. Doesn't feel like that's short.
Oh.
Ugh. Cardinal Quest. Never played it. Ah.
Didn't hit me.
There you go, honey.
I'm resistant now.
True.
right behind me.
So I will not go that way.
Right now, helping my dad with electronics and his cat with fuses I might have to repair. Ah.
Huh. Well, that sounds like not as much fun. A lot of games. This is Contra, apparently. I don't think that's ever in Contra, but maybe.
Oh, car, not cat.
Car. Alright.
I was like, okay, something about the cat.
I was thinking it was like a caterpillar tractor.
Oh. Two different thoughts.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'd like this not to have vocals. That'd be really great.
Hmm.
The free music not to have vocals, you know?
Hmm.
What do you gotta do?
Oh, I can't use any of the emojis.
So weird.
Well, I'm not subbed apparently now.
Yeah.
Subs are out.
Yeah, I think Avalon did the 6-month thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then. Oh, stray hair. Stray hair. Doesn't look like it's a hair.
Cool one.
Finger snap.
Mhm.
Very nice. Wonder if that was from.
Which?
Yeah, I wonder if it's emulating Thanos.
No, it's called We Did That.
Ah.
It's a very short hair, so it looks like, you know. You want it to be the same length as the hair that it's coming from, so like this one even would be as long as that. And that, if it's that short, it's looking like it's broken off, you know, like just make it connect to the hair. And it'll feel like it's long. Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Mm-hmm.
When Fox is done with all the lessons, make an OC together challenge and watch them draw it right. Yeah, I mean, we can do that. That's for sure. We can definitely do that. Everybody gets to pick a expression and a hairstyle and a body type. Although I've only really done any in-ish type people. Yeah, we could do a stream builds an OC.
There you go, you did it.
Deflector. Anything else missing on there? Is that it?
That's it.
Just to get my lines to where they feel smoother to me.
Yeah, that comes with practice, though.
Yeah.
You're also not using the,
Yeah, we're using
the pen that helps with that, too.
Yeah, we're using the mapping tool instead of the...
Mhm.
That would have helped, I think.
Yeah.
That's alright. But you can do this with a mapping tool.
Because I have practice.
You have a lot of practice. Alright.
So I hope that helped everybody.
Oof.
I hope that we answered enough questions about hair.
Any other questions, lovelies?
Meep, mop.
Eep, orc, or ah.
Blah, 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 blah.
That means I love you.
Blah, 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 blah. I love you too.
Haha. I mean, like all these folders, amazing. Alex.
What do you mean I made all of these folders amazing?
You just had all these folders.
Yeah.
You were just organized, that's all I was saying.
I made them while I was teaching. I feel like you didn't listen to anything I said today.
Oh, I listened. Yeah, it's fine. I couldn't see all like these little things being done. I'm looking across like that distance to see this thing that I can't see. Because your hand is here, so I can't see on that side either. Look, we're married long enough. You really think I still listen? That's ridiculous.
Nope, that was amazing. Thank you guys so much.
Perfect.
So I don't know what we should teach for next week. Is there anything that you guys feel you want to learn?
Cybernetics.
No.
Oh. Robotses. Eyes.
I mean, we could go into fuller detail on eyes, but we kind of already went through it on a basic level when doing faces.
Facial expressions. Posing. Looks like it's a little more advanced too.
Yeah.
Positions with the body. Aha. Basic backgrounds, that'd be good. Poses. Positions, backgrounds.
What kind of poses, though?
Let's see. Next week. Poses. Let's see. Backgrounds. Expressions. I can't see chat anymore, you'll have to tell me.
They're not saying anything.
Oh, okay. We'll do that. So. Wolo.
So you guys can vote in the poll that's posted for what you want to learn next week.
Trying to learn different poses and shape the body in different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you watch the how to draw the skeletal form of a body basics tutorial, I go over that quite a bit.
That's a bit, because, you know, two different kinds of images. A little less than a minute. Vote away.
Get your vote in.
And like your vote matters.
Yep, everything's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's all on YouTube. This will be up in 2 weeks.
I suppose, have you been putting them into their own, like,
I think there's a playlist for them.
playlists?
Yeah, I'll double check it today, but I think they're all in a playlist.
Because then it'll be easier for people to find.
Wow, one other person is doing art. Alright, we'll go to that. Illusions of Mana. They did a really good gift for me for a while ago.
Oh yeah? Cool.
Alright, 1 and 1. Great.
Basic backgrounds and expressions. Okay, so I guess it'll be one of those, whatever I feel like, I guess.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll flip a coin. Thanks everyone for hanging out. We're gonna go see Illusions of Mana.
Yes, thank you all for coming. It really means a lot, and means a lot that you guys seem to actually feel like this is helping. So
yeah, we've seen some progress in some people, so it's been really nice.
Yeah. So if you also want to share progress and stuff, feel free to do so in our Discord.
Yep, yep, yep.
And,
Cackle. All right. Yo.
I guess you'll see us next Friday.
It'll be Friday. Yeah.
Either with a collab, if not, probably more Cyber Sierra map making stuff.
Yeah, we'll do more map making probably.
Yeah.
All right, lovelies. We'll see you around.
Bye.
Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.
Love you all.
Blah, 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 blah.
Let's do this again. Hopefully the gang can come along with me this time.
Fox, Lunaris, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. Hello, and how are you?